It is the beat of the Pacific, new FM. That is a brand new one, and from Fee Join. It is called Come Closer. And looking at the time right now, it is time to jump into this.
Welcome back to Woman of the Hour.
Every woman. Yes, Wednesday is one of my favourite days, and because we do have the Woman of the Hour that goes down every single Wednesday, and this is a part of the show where, we get to talk and celebrate and honour our beautiful women that are out there in business, that are adding value to our Pacifica communities. And today I'm super excited, a little bit nervous, but we have the beautiful, amazing Amber Reid in from the Cobalt Club joining us live in the building. What's good?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
So good to have you in today, honestly. Just to see the waves that you've been making literally in the past, not even year or so, less than a year or so with the Cobalt Club. But before we jump into that whole side and the business side of things, tell us a bit about who you are, the baby, all that kind of stuff. Tell us a bit about that.
Okay, my name's Amber Reid. I am 25 years old. I am.
Are you 25 years old? Oh my gosh.
I keep saying I'm 22, but I'm 25. I keep forgetting. I am a mum to a beautiful, almost 2-year-old boy now, which has gone so fast. I have a beautiful fiance who is part of Cobalt with me. And I'm born and bred in New Zealand, moved over to Australia when I was straight after high school. I was 17, 18. Was there for a good 7 years, and then only as of last year moved back home. So.
This is insane. That is crazy. And to see, where you are at now, where the gym is at now, is absolutely crazy. For a lot of people I know, 2020 was basically a year from hell. For a whole bunch of different reasons. There was so much stuff happening. And to see you actually like that to be the foundation of the gym and where it is right now is crazy. Tell us a bit about 2020 for you. How did it all start?
You're so right with that, and it is crazy that to be honest, that was our biggest year. So I kind of thought of it as I'm such a optimist, so everything I see is an opportunity. So I saw maybe gyms would be closing, if I'm talking about Cobalt, that is. I saw that things would be changing. People were still seeing their health, and although COVID was happening, their health and their fitness as a priority, even more so now. So I kind of used that, and I was like, okay, what can we do? Let's do something, with this time, which is a crazy, horrible time, obviously, that we've all had. But I love that you saw that, because I feel like everyone was their biggest. Like for me, in my life, I went my biggest. I think after the second lockdown, I just kind of gave up. I was like, take me. I just, and to see, like I said, that come out of it. And for you not only to birth that in that time, but for it to thrive like how I think it's only been 6 months or something crazy. So just coming to 6 months.
It's crazy. Before we get to that, tell us about the start of Cobalt. Where did that come from? How did it begin?
Okay, so where do I even begin? So the start, it wasn't even a gym to begin with. So I was in Australia for 7 years. I worked for my parents there. My partner and I both moved over after high school. So we've been together since we were just finished high school sweethearts. But we moved over. We worked for my parents for a while. So they've got a wholesale liquor company, totally random. But we both, worked there. He started with sweeping floors to cleaning the warehouse to then becoming transport and logistics manager. So he did that, and then I kind of did the same thing, but worked my way out with accounts and I was customer service manager, and this is where we learned a lot of business skills. So this was a really kind of important part of our journey. But that happened. But then I also had such a big focus on fitness, and so while I was working, I went and did my PT course, and I did that on the side. And then I was still working for my parents until I got to the point where I was like, no, this is too boring. I need to do something that I love to do, and I'm very much like that. I then worked at F45 over there. I started working at F45, and I then ended up managing a studio. Then I fell pregnant, and as I was kind of going through that, I always have to be busy. So there's one thing about me. I started a bag company, which is so random. But what I noticed while I was working at F45, so sorry, long story, but I noticed that people were turning up to the gym and they just always had their keys, their phone, their wallet, and they never had something to put it in. So there was just phones everywhere. So I wanted to make a small gym bag that was cool, that was easy to just carry a few things in. And so I did that. And when thinking of the name, I wanted something that meant strong and powerful, but I couldn't think of the word, and so the word, the color scheme I was using was like black, grey, charcoal grey, and cobalt blue, and that's when I saw that cobalt word come up, and so then I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Bolt kind of sounds powerful, and then I googled it and figured out what it meant, and it's a chemical element, and in its chemical form, it makes up iron. So that was kind of like, oh, that means it's strong.
Yeah,
and then I was
yeah,
like, oh
wow.
my gosh, I love the word. That's what it's going to be. Anyway, I then ended up not doing well with the bag, so that's another lesson in the books. But the name kind of stuck around, and my mum said to me at the time, which is the craziest thing, and I will remember this for the rest of my life. She said, "No, Amber, we're gonna trademark that name. It's gonna come back around." And I was like, "Mum, it's seriously not." And I relax, and like one of those mum things.
Yeah.
She did so, and then a couple. It was probably a year or so later when we come to deciding to do the gym. This is the name. So that's where the name came from. Oh, it's a whole nother story about how we decided to actually do the gym. But long story short, we were both working our jobs, and we were kind of just a bit like, I started PTing out of my garage as a mum. I was holding my baby tied to me in his carrier, and Wills was doing crazy long hours, working like 20-hour days, going all the way up to up Queensland and back in trucks. So it was a real, well-paying jobs, because Aussie does pay well, but boring. And to say the least. And then anyway, we just felt like it was just time that we needed to level up. We just felt like it was that time. And so we ended up going to a gym in Newcastle, and it was a really cool concept. It's an altitude training gym, which I had never seen before, and it was kind of like, just similar style training to what we do, but in altitude, which has all these benefits, like you're up in the mountains. Anyway, I was like, I'm such a business-minded person. I was like, this will go great in New Zealand. And so I went to him, and he was actually a Kiwi too, and I was like, yo, I would love to take this over to New Zealand, blah, blah, blah. And we started talking. I wanted to work there to see the behind the scenes, just be like, is it good? What is he doing behind here and all that sort of thing? And so I did that, and we actually went all the way to the end, and we decided against this option pretty much, when we're talking figures, that it was a huge risk, a huge investment that we couldn't really fund anyway. But it also solidified to us that, we can do this on our own.
Yeah.
Like, we actually want to, if we're going to bring in the people, we want it to be our own thing, our own way. We don't have to, go to him every single minute and pay so-and-so amount of dollars. We can do it on our own. So that was the moment to us. We're like, let's do it. So... yeah.
So it started their crazy journey. I love how you say, it's a long story. I don't want to get into it. We've got a whole hour, sister, okay? So we're going to come back up next to hear the second part 2 of the interview. If you're just tuning in right now, this is Amber Reid from the Cobalt Club, and we'll be back with her up next as she features on our Woman of the Hour. And for your Wednesday right now, straight back into it. It is Standard and with Best Friend right here on UFM.
Welcome back to Woman of the Hour.
Yes, welcome back to your Woman of the Hour and for your Wednesday right here on the beat of the Pacific. New FM, you've got me, Charles, holding it down for your day show for today. And joining us right now back in the studio is our live beautiful guest for today, Amber Reid, and from the Cobalt Club. What is good? Mm-hmm. Welcome back, sister. We were halfway through your story of, kind of where the inspiration came, into your lives for you to bring that back to New Zealand from being over in Australia. But I want to talk about the logistics side of it. So basically, Amber and her partner, they started Cobalt in September, October. They officially opened. It's been booming ever since. And they started it during the whole COVID season as well, which is crazy in itself. And to see where it is now is amazing. So tell us a little bit about the logistics of that whole move.
Yeah, sure. I think I needed to mention too, it is a gym.
Yeah, a gym.
Some people may not even know that word. Cobalt doesn't kind of explain that. But when we were in Australia when we decided to do this all, and we kind of just made the decision it was just one of those things. Once we had decided, we were like, yo, okay, it's happening. Anyway, we also have a small boy. We wanted to come back because of family and friends and everything and bring him up over here. So we had that in our heads. It wasn't until, though, that we purchased our gear for our gym, which we did in Australia, online. So, and this is a big thing that we have done, which I'm really happy that we did do, like in hindsight, is we purchased our gear secondhand. So there's a thing in Australia called Graze Online, which is where you can auction things off. And we had seen at the time, and we'd heard about it from a friend of ours that owned gyms, that gyms will sell their gear when they're closing. And because of COVID, gyms were closing. So we were always looking on there anyway. A Snap Fitness had closed down, and that's kind of like a Jets equivalent to a Jets here. And then they had put all of their gear. So they like put everything on and they mark it down. They just put tickets on everything. And so we're just looking at and at that time we were just kind of like, oh my God, are we going to bid on it? Should we do it? And we did. And we just started bidding on everything. And we didn't even have time to think. We just started bidding and we won a whole heap of gear, like leg press, leg curl, hamstring curl, that sort of thing. And all of these pieces of equipment, which are really in good quality, were probably less than even half price. So we saved so much money. Yeah, we saved so much money doing that. And it wasn't until we did that, we kind of just sat back after we won the auction, like, holy moly, we're doing this. So that was our moment that made it all happen. So that was the first part. We then we have friends and family here that were helping us to get properties, and I was always looking on Trade Me, looking for something to come up, and a friend of mine was going to properties and viewing them and just FaceTiming me, and we ended up finding one, it's always the way it works, isn't it? We actually wanted something bigger, something like very different to the one that the real estate agent was like, Amber, I really think this would work. And I was like, nah, I don't even want to see it. I told my friend not to view it. And then he actually showed her anyway, which was funny. He took her anyway, and then she FaceTimed me and she was like, Amber, this is the one. And I was like, it's too small. So at this point, and this is a big bit of business advice that I do have, like thinking about it, is that start small and scale is a huge one. And I got told this too, that we were looking to get a big 300 square meter warehouse and get all the gear and try and fill that up somehow, which again means more money. But it forced us to be like, okay, we're going to try and make it smaller, get less gear, we need less members to fill it and that sort of thing. And so we did that, and looking back on it, it was the best decision we had made. So that was kind of, and then what we had to do too, because we're in Australia, we had to go through quarantine. So we ended up, that we got the property, we booked our flights, we went to flew over, we were in quarantine for 2 weeks. And then as soon as we came out, we had given this time frame to ourselves. We had 4 weeks. We wanted to open in October. We had 4 weeks to repaint the gym, to do the flooring, to put mirrors up, lighting, everything. And we did that in 4 weeks. So, and then we opened.
That's crazy. That's so inspiring. And I know, I'm talking off air to you, I was like, I feel like people look in and they're like, oh my gosh, they got it so easy. They're rich. They can do all this. But without actually seeing all the massive, moving with a newborn alone overseas is, and then moving the whole business, starting that whole thing up as well. In terms of financial literacy for our people when it comes to business as well, I feel like this is such an important topic that no one really talks about.
Yeah.
What were some of the key things that you both learnt that were key to your success today?
Definitely. So, we put our wedding on hold. So that was our plan. We had been saving our money for a wedding, which was sounds beautiful, and it would be beautiful. One day it's going to be beautiful. We made the decision actually at the start of the year that, you know what, we're going to put our money in towards a business. So we did have a bit of savings. But going back to what I was talking about before, when our first option was to kind of franchise a business, we looked at that straight away and we're like, we can't afford that. And as soon as you start, and I know this about myself, as soon as you start trying to think about things that are more expensive, I get real stressed out. And so I was like, I can't do this. And the kind of fun, you get lost in that, it's not even fun anymore when you're stressed about money. So when we were forced to scale it down, and we did this in a way that we actually can afford, we were so much less stressed. So I definitely reckon if there's anything, one, save up, work hard, save up, have a bit of savings, and then scale it down, start small, and then and then if it works, if your idea is viable, then you go and expand, which is kind of where we're at now.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know maybe we can't release that information quite yet. But that's a little bit of a word of advice for our community out there. What else would you say for, our community, our people that are maybe sitting on an idea or, just scared of failure or to step out? What would you say to those people?
Yeah, exactly that. Do not be afraid to fail. And never a failure, always a lesson is like what I always have in my back of my mind. And I think, I think me moving to Australia has really helped me with that, and it's that tall poppy syndrome that we have in New Zealand and our Polynesian communities.
Yeah.
We just feel like it's just shame if you fail. It's not people will look down on you, or you're just embarrassed, and people look up to those who make it, but they don't look up to the people that are really trying.
Yeah.
So I think it's getting that all out. It's getting out of your head. And really just taking yourself out of it, and not worrying about what other people think of you is a huge one. And just doing whatever you love, whatever you believe in, you got to back yourself 100%, and just not be afraid. Like, you will learn. You will always learn. I've failed a few times before I've got to this point, and I'm probably going to fail again, But just do it. Don't be nervous. I mean, it's always nerve-wracking, but just give it a go.
Yeah. Give it a go. There you go. Amber preaching out here on live on air today. So thank you so much. Coming up next, we're going to be wrapping it up, and I've got a few more questions just around motherhood and stuff like that as well coming up next. So if you're just tuning in, it is your Woman of the Hour. We do have Amber Reid joining us live in studio and from the Cobalt Club, which is a gym based out in Grafton. Okay, so make sure you do stay tuned. That is up next right here on You.